You don't get it. He wanted to ruin everything. He wanted to strip it all away from me. I built American Pickers. It's my life's work. Because he tried to steal everything I had, he deserved it. He deserved it.
That was the furious roar of Mike Wolfe as the life sentence was handed down. Once a familiar face on American screens, the celebrated treasure hunter of American Pickers has veered down an unforeseen, shadowy path. The man adored by millions of viewers now stands convicted in the tragic death of his longtime companion, Frank Fritz. 42 nerve-wracking days unfolded, fans' hearts shattered, the world holding its breath, tracking every clue to uncover the answers. What really happened to Frank Fritz? What drove Mike Wolfe to this crime? And how could a friendship forged over 2 decades twist into such profound enmity? Are you ready to dive into this grim truth? Don't look away, because this tale, rife with chilling secrets and betrayal, will leave you stunned, hardly believing what you've heard. In a shocking twist that has rocked the American entertainment scene, Mike Wolfe, the iconic face of the hit TV show American Pickers, a man once synonymous with treasure hunting adventures across the nation, now finds himself in police handcuffs. At first, the buzz was about routine business disputes or a falling out with the History Channel. But the truth unraveling is far darker and more chilling than anyone imagined. Mike Wolfe is facing an unthinkable accusation, direct involvement in the death of his co-star Frank Fritz. Just months ago, on September 30th, 2024, the public was stunned by news of Frank Fritz's sudden passing. Authorities initially chalked it up to complications from a stroke, consistent with his history of cerebrovascular disease and aortic stenosis. With no signs of violence or foul play, the case was swiftly closed as a tragic health-related loss. But a startling discovery flipped the investigation on its head, transforming a mournful event into a spine-chilling saga, and turning Fritz's on-screen best friend, Mike Wolfe, into the prime suspect. So what led police to zero in on Mike Wolfe as the key figure? First, at Fritz's home, the scene of his death, a discarded pill bottle bearing Mike Wolfe's fingerprints was uncovered. After meticulous DNA analysis, investigators reached a chilling conclusion. Frank Fritz's death wasn't a natural departure, but a deliberate act of murder, masterfully disguised. Second, a subsequent forensic report dropped a bombshell. Fritz's body contained an abnormally high level of fentanyl, a potent opioid painkiller, far exceeding any safe threshold. This raised red flags, as fentanyl wasn't part of his prescribed treatment. Given his complex medical history and strict regimen, the odds of Fritz using it on his own were virtually nil. Third, suspicious text messages from Wolfe to Fritz emerged as damning evidence, paired with those fingerprints on the bottle. Prosecutors argued this wasn't an accidental overdose, but a meticulously planned killing, fueled by envy and insatiable ambition. Fourth, and perhaps the most decisive clue, Wolfe's internet search history unveiled a sinister truth. Investigators found he'd repeatedly looked up undetectable poisons and methods to stage a death resembling a stroke. His online queries included eerie questions like, can drug interactions causing a stroke be detected after death, and how do you make a death look like a stroke complication? This uncanny alignment only strengthened suspicions of a carefully orchestrated plot. The fentanyl levels in Fritz's system, well beyond. The combination of the anomalous fentanyl in Fritz's body, Wolfe's access to such a drug, and his online searches about poisons and mimicking strokes paints a terrifying picture of premeditated murder. Based on these revelations, Iowa police have reopened the case as a homicide investigation, with Mike Wolfe now firmly in the crosshairs as the leading suspect. The investigation unfolded in secrecy, with police zeroing in on those who were with Frank Fritz in his final hours, especially Mike Wolfe. What the detectives uncovered left even the most seasoned investigators stunned. Security footage from Fritz's quiet neighborhood inadvertently captured a critical clue. Wolfe's car pulling up to Fritz's house in the dead of night, just 3 hours before the emergency call was placed. The timing, when the streets were cloaked in darkness and neighbors fast asleep, only deepened suspicions, particularly given the strained state of their relationship. Notably, it was Mike Wolfe who dialed 911. In the call, his voice trembled with apparent panic as he reported stopping by to check on Fritz and finding him unresponsive. At first glance, it seemed like a genuine act of concern, but as investigators dug deeper, it took on a far more sinister tone. Prosecutors began to wonder, was this a calculated move to establish a flawless alibi and shape the narrative from the outset? When paramedics and police arrived, Wolfe appeared distraught, reportedly even shedding tears. Yet this display clashed starkly with his peculiar behavior in the wake of Fritz's official passing. It seems Mike Wolfe exploited his intimate knowledge of Frank Fritz's health struggles to craft a perfect crime scene, masking a ruthless act. As a longtime companion, Wolfe was well aware of Fritz's medical history, his prior stroke and underlying heart issues. This explains the deliberate choice of fentanyl, a powerful opioid, whose effects could easily be mistaken for or exacerbate stroke symptoms. Wolfe orchestrated every detail with precision, from Fritz's position when found to the tiniest elements that bolstered the illusion of a natural death due to health complications. What raised even more red flags was Wolfe's reaction after Fritz's death. Instead of mourning or honoring his longtime partner, he almost immediately shifted focus to seizing control of Fritz's key assets. Within a mere 48 hours, Wolfe was on the phone with lawyers, discussing how to secure rights to Fritz's name and likeness for future commercial ventures. He also swiftly moved to access secret storage sites, where Fritz kept rare, never-before-seen antiques off the TV screen. The plot thickened when Fritz's will surfaced. According to William Fritz, Frank's father, who filed a lawsuit to challenge its validity, the entire estate, valued at nearly $6 million, was bequeathed to Mike Wolfe. This revelation sent shockwaves through the public, sparking outrage among Fritz's family, friends, and fans. As the last living relative, William had every reason to be skeptical. He struggled to believe his son would leave everything to a friend, especially during a period of severe health decline. As the lawsuit took shape, Wolfe countered by rallying his legal team to defend the will's terms. But rather than clarifying matters, this only fueled further doubt. Was he truly safeguarding Fritz's final wishes, or merely clinging to a massive inheritance? The case hinges on a pivotal question: was Frank Fritz lucid enough to comprehend and sign his will? If it stands, Mike Wolfe stands to claim a multi-million-dollar fortune, amplifying suspicions of greed and manipulation that police had already theorized. On the other side, William Fritz is fighting to protect his son's legacy, convinced Frank never intended to hand over his entire estate to Wolfe, especially given the deep cracks that had formed in their bond during Frank's final years. Wolfe's swift and calculated moves only bolstered the theory that he no longer saw Fritz as a worthy partner, but as an obstacle to be eliminated. His personal journal unveils a trove of troubling details, including entries dripping with frustration and a clear desire to oust Fritz, to claim full spotlight and control over the show. A meticulous police search of Wolfe's home and office unearthed a cascade of pivotal evidence. FBI investigators stumbled upon a hidden safe containing unlabeled pill bottles. Forensic analysis confirmed the substance inside matched the toxin found in Fritz's body, but what truly horrified the public were the words scrawled across Wolfe's journal, a document that peeled back the mask of friendliness he wore for the world, revealing a chillingly dark side. The pages chronicled not just petty disagreements but a festering resentment toward Fritz that grew more venomous with time. That bitterness peaked in an entry penned just weeks before Fritz's death, where Wolfe laid bare his sinister thoughts. "Without me, this show wouldn't exist. He's become a burden now. There's only one way to protect what I've built." These weren't the grumblings of a mere colleague. They were the cold, calculated musings of intent. They reflect a selfishness and obsession with power and fame, where Wolfe ceased to see Fritz as a person and reduced him to a hurdle to be cleared. As the truth unfurls and Wolfe faces justice, those journal entries grow even more haunting and icy, irrefutable proof that this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act, but a deliberate, premeditated murder. The trial of Mike Wolfe stretched across 6 grueling weeks, gripping the attention of the American public from coast to coast. The mountain of evidence, from autopsy results, suspicious search histories, personal journals, to witness testimonies, slowly peeled back the layers, revealing the grim truth behind Frank Fritz's death. Evidence of Wolfe's financial motives only tightened the noose of the indictment. Forensic accountants testified that just months before Fritz's passing, Wolfe had secretly restructured their business to siphon off Fritz's intellectual property rights in the event of his incapacitation or death. Wolfe had also taken out a $10 million life insurance policy, naming his company as the sole beneficiary. Prosecutors further exposed how he'd set up a web of shell companies to quietly funnel over $5 million worth of rare antiques out of sight. In the end, the jury delivered its final verdict: Mike Wolfe was guilty, closing the curtain on a case that stunned the nation. Justice today wasn't just for Frank Fritz, but for everyone who'd ever believed in him, though the cost was steep beyond measure. The bond between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz had once been the beating heart of American pickers. Together, they crisscrossed the U.S., scouring dusty antique shops and remote back roads in search of hidden treasures, each piece carrying its own singular story. On screen, their partnership seemed unbreakable, built on seamless teamwork, a shared love for relics, and playful banter that kept viewers hooked. Their contrasting styles and expertise were the magic that made the show irresistible. Audiences adored their effortless chemistry. Even their little spats became an essential thread in the fabric of American pickers. But behind the grins and high-stakes haggling, silent fractures had begun to form. Tensions simmered over time, and clashing work ethics drove a wedge between them. Wolfe steadily tightened his grip on the show, reportedly undermining Fritz to network executives, leaving Fritz feeling sidelined and betrayed. The Mike Wolfe case sent shockwaves through the reality TV world, pushing American pickers to the brink of collapse. The History Channel swiftly yanked episodes featuring Wolfe and issued a statement expressing dismay at the unforeseen turn of events, while offering heartfelt condolences to Fritz's family. Major sponsors bolted, casting the show's future into deep uncertainty. Meanwhile, Fritz's family filed a lawsuit to reclaim control of his antique collection and intellectual property tied to the program, vowing to safeguard the legacy he'd painstakingly built, while also pursuing legal action against the History Channel for letting Wolfe's unchecked behavior spiral out of control. Mike Wolfe, once a trailblazer in the antiques realm, now sees his achievements eclipsed by betrayal, greed, and an unforgivable crime. The trial concluded with a life sentence, a fitting end for the sins he committed. Yet there's no denying that the future of American picker and American reality TV has been altered forever. What was once a celebration of the past and a tribute to America's unique cultural treasures is now overshadowed by treachery, violence, and the jarring revelations of the courtroom. From this case, I've drawn a lesson. Friendship, something that seems sacred and untouchable, turns out to be astonishingly fragile. The tragedy of Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz isn't just another murder case. It's a profound wake-up call about how humanity can crumble under the weight of blind ambition. This story forces us to pause and reflect on the care we take in placing our trust. Because sometimes the ones we hold closest are capable of delivering the most devastating blows. Friendship, trust, and loyalty, the bedrock of life, require a sturdy foundation of truth, sincerity, and mutual respect. When that trust is betrayed, everything can shatter in an instant, leaving wreckage too broken to mend. And there's more to ponder: greed and selfishness. When Mike Wolfe let the allure of fame, fortune, and power cloud his conscience, he didn't just lose a friend, he lost his own humanity. It's a stern warning to us all: never let personal desires torch the noble values we've worked so hard to cultivate. In the end, as the courtroom lights dimmed and the verdict rang out, we're left to wonder, is this merely the tale of two individuals, or a mirror reflecting the hidden shadows within us all when faced with life's temptations? How do you feel about this case?
Shocked, outraged, or wistful?
Could there still be secrets lurking beneath the surface of this jaw-dropping saga? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video gripping, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next deep dives and stories, because this tale is far from over. Will the Fritz family ever reclaim full justice? Catch you in the next installment, where the truth keeps unraveling.